hip hop.
Y'all know how we do.
You're listening to Free Zone Matthias, aka Mr. 16 Bars. That's real hip hop.
We try to tell people that Philly is a special breed. They hate to see us on top, they hate to see us on, they hate to see us come up, they hate we on, they hate the moves that we make because it's made to break them. We give them knowledge on tracks and hope our words can save them. I guess it's hard to give props when you know you lesser, so we right on your heels, I hope you feel the pressure. Rappers taking a roll, my shoes will never fit them. Before you come at a king, I let my soldiers get them. I'm from Philly with hot quarters, they turn chilly. Tight shirts with tight jeans, they never feel me. Young boys confused, they think I'm too preachy. Old head in the game and still rep my city. I'm from Philly where hot quarters they turn chilly. Tight shirts with tight jeans, they never feel me. Young boys confused, they think I'm too preachy. Old head in the game and still reppin' Philly.
Welcome to this episode of Philly on the Rise. As you know, I'm your host, Michael W. Pleasant. This week, Philly on the Rise finds us in the Lawn Crest section of Philadelphia. We're actually at the Philadelphia Protestant House, and we're joined by a special young woman. Philadelphia, you know who this is, Cherelle Parker. She is the council president of the 9th District, and we're here to talk about what's going on in her district, some of the new things, some of the challenges, and what her overall vision is to serve you, the people. Cherelle Parker, welcome to Philly on the Rise.
Thank you. Thank you so very much for having me. I greatly appreciate it. It's a little dreary, outside, okay. But we're finding a way to make do.
That's right, because we're alive and we're breathing, so things are good.
Yes, and I must say that you are in one of the finest establishments in the 9th Councilmatic District, the Philadelphia Protestant Home, one of the most renowned independent living facilities in the city of Philadelphia, and I am proud that it is in the 9th Councilmatic District.
They have a lot going on here.
Yes.
They have swimming pools, bowling alleys, tons of activities for the folks here. So you picked a good place to represent.
Thank you. It's interesting. You don't usually think about the kind of services or the amenities that you want to have as we become more seasoned in life. But when you're here, you're like, hey, this is pretty swanky. We want to have access to all of this stuff when we start getting up there. So if anyone's thinking about sort of, relaxing or making the transition as they become more seasoned, keep the Philadelphia Protestant homes in mind.
Exactly. I'd like to congratulate you. It's been a few weeks now since you have assumed leadership of the 9th District, and I know that Marion Tasco, she was your mentor, she was your leader, and even though you served under her for some time, you still had some pretty big shoes to fill. So talk to us a little bit. What has it been like, that transition for you, following in the footsteps of a giant?
Well, so first and foremost, full disclosure. I've said to anyone who said to me, Cherelle, those are big shoes to follow, that number one, it is impossible to fill Marion Tasco's shoes, and I don't think there is anyone who will be able to do that. But the great thing about having outstanding mentorship is that you hope that some of the skill set that you've learned, you are able to take some of those experiences and lessons to actually walk in your own shoes. And to begin to try to do what's in the best interest of the people that you're serving. So Marion Tasco is still on speed dial. Okay. I want anyone to think that that's not the case.
Is that number 2 on the speed dial? Number 4? Number 5?
Yeah. How about that? How about number 2? My husband at home with number 1. Marion Tasco number 2. Okay. And but she's still there and an integral part of the 9th Councilmatic District. Sure. She's still extremely active and will remain active in the community. So we're just sort of now. You mentioned we've been there. January the 4th was the day that we were sworn in, so it's not even 30 days yet. Excited about the awesome team that we were able to put together with my staff.
How large is your staff?
Well, right now, so there is Steve, Kiasha, and Solomon, and Hillary, and Heather, and Romany, and Kathy. So I think we're at 8.
8 or so.
We're at an 8-person staff to serve approximately 155,000 people in Mount Airy, West Oak Lane, East Oak Lane, Longcrest, Lawndale,
parts of Alany.
And you're absolutely right. You know your 9th District stuff.
I know my 9th District.
And Burholm is also a part of it. So, the district is much larger than the State House district that I previously served. And so, again, we're just trying to get established and sort of begin getting our feet on the ground.
And let's talk about the different neighborhoods, because there are different neighborhoods, different needs per se as well. So Would you say that the needs are different from one neighborhood to the other? And then how exactly do you service those different needs?
I think that's a really great question, and I'm happy that you framed it in a positive way, because sometimes when we hear people talk about Philadelphia being a city of neighborhoods, they talk about it from a very siloed, isolated perspective, and I actually think being a city of neighborhoods is a great thing.
Yeah.
So all of the regions that I just mentioned that are included in the 9th District, you're absolutely right. They are all different, but what we've noticed is that there's some commonalities that all of the neighborhoods need in order to survive and thrive. And one is obviously it's public safety. It's access to a quality public educational system and schools in their area. And then we want a thriving and growing and robust economic sort of viability and activity along with the commercial corridors. And then you want sort of neighborhood stabilization as it relates to housing. So that's preservation, that's maintenance and home repair. And no matter which neighborhood you go to in the 9th Councilwoman District, each of the elements that I mentioned are present and desired by the residents of the area. So it's just that one may need a little bit more of the other. And so it's finding the right mix. And for me, I happen to sort of be a supporter of ground up solutions, building ground up solutions to problems.
At a grassroots level?
At a grassroots level, because I never think politicians and or government know what's best for people. The only way you know what's best for people is if you sit down, have a conversation, and engage people, and then ask people about, for example, if we're talking about improving a neighborhood commercial corridor, Cherelle Parker shouldn't think that she knows what's best to enhance that corridor. I need to sit down and have a conversation with you to say, what kind of retail would you like to see here? Where would you like to spend your dollars? When you have to leave to go outside of your neighborhood, which suburban area outside of Philadelphia do you travel to? And what are some of the services that you patronize or the things that you buy? And once you begin having that dialogue, a lot of the solutions to some of the challenges facing the city, they come when you sit down and listen to people.
So let's talk specifics, because you mentioned economics and you mentioned jobs. It's what it kind of boils down to. So are there certain types of stores that we need to bring in? Are there certain type of jobs that we need to offer the different neighborhoods? What's your thought on that?
I would agree. For example, we had a pretty challenging time recently, or received some challenging news. My first week as the council person, and that Cordone Industries, which is the largest manufacturing company in the city and the largest employer in the 9th Councilwoman District, they were actually transitioning a division, the brake division of their company to Mexico. And so, but Cordone, which is not the usual any old company in Philadelphia, this is a company where its employees, they don't have tags from Delaware, from Jersey, they live right here in the city of Philadelphia.
Because that's outsourcing word is just a terrible word, and that's what it sounds as though they were going to do.
But this company is pretty unique in that I'm sort of viewing it as the glass half full, and looking at one portion of the business sort of simply transitioning to another region, but the company is committed to growing another portion of the division, another portion of their business, which may require a different type of a skilled worker. So the question for...
And that growth will take place here in Philadelphia?
Right here in Philadelphia.
Good.
Listen, Cordone is... I don't know that I've seen a corporation as committed to its employees and to staying and remaining. Their headquarters is here in Philadelphia. Although they operate sort of across the country, they are based here and they have a long legacy here. So kudos to Cordone, kudos to you. Stay here. We want to work with you and make sure you have everything that you need in order to survive and thrive. But it's that kind of thing. How do you ensure that the skill set that is required for not a new kind of employee, but a different kind of work? So the school district of Philadelphia, institutions of higher learning in the city of Philadelphia, how are we connecting them with industries and business that's growing and thriving? So long gone are the days where we'll say, well, that we should be thinking that. I want to simply, let's just say, be a nurse.
Okay.
Well, it would be very important before I make that decision to find out, particularly if I want to stay in Philadelphia, how many nursing positions are available in the city of Philadelphia? How often do those positions become available? What hospitals have those available? And so you have to do that sort of kind of due diligence, because the problem is people have been getting trained sometimes to work in a specific industry, and then after you get whatever degree or certification, what if the industry is not operating in your region?
Correct. Yes,
right?
yes,
So
yes.
we've got to sort of think a little different as this is a global economy. We're no longer just competing here in the city of Philadelphia, right? So, or even in the country. So we're competing with people in China,
other countries,
and India, and all over the world. Mexico.
Correct.
And so, but the U.S. and Philadelphia in particular, I think we still have some of the best and the brightest minds, some of the most innovative thinking, and some of the most hard-working people. So although we are in a global competition, I think if we continue to work hard and keep innovation, first and foremost,
and groom the right skill set,
we can meet any challenges. Challenges.
It's been a few weeks that you have been council president here, and you have an open door policy. What type of issues would you like folks to bring to your office? Because you're here to serve the people. Ultimately, you're here to serve the people. So what type of issues would you like to help people with?
So any thoughts or ideas that you may have had about solving a problem in the city, don't ever think, oh, I thought about this, but government doesn't want to hear this, so this is not a good idea, or it's not important. You should call your local elected officials, and particularly I'm asking people to call me with any solutions they have as it relates to work processes, the delivering of city services, how you improve them, challenges from a legislative perspective regarding public policy. We just introduced a resolution a couple of weeks ago calling for investigative hearings regarding the issue of reverse mortgages in the city of Philadelphia. So we have an increasing number of our senior citizens who are in deciding to use the reverse mortgage lending product, but we're finding that there may be some challenges with the product. So while the product in and of itself, we are not attempting to demonize the knowledge, education, and understanding
from that
from that population. So we may need to find a way to plug some of those gaps. So we want to bring private sector, nonprofit sector, government together to see how we can work on that issue. We'll be introducing a resolution regarding a major issue. And you've heard lots about the cost of pensions these days, and it's extremely an important issue. The cost of public pensions is definitely having a strong impact on the city's general fund, and we need to have a conversation about the cost of pensions, but we also have to put the cost of pensions in a broader conversation regarding the issue of retirement security. The state of retirement security in the city of Philadelphia, and not just for public workers, but for private sector workers. So let's just think about some of our elders and think about some of our communities where we see a high rate of home ownership. Usually those residents have had access to Social Security. They've had access to a wage that has allowed them to personally save some money, but they've also had access to sort of a guaranteed pension. Well, as we see the state of retirement security change and the market for the kind of options for retirement that were once available to workers sort of disappearing and or just changing, if those same resources are not available, how will it impact the economic viability in our city? How will it impact the ability of our residents to continue to own homes and make home repairs, so work on home repair and preservation? And if people are not buying homes, preserving homes and fixing homes up, what does that mean for the quality of life in a neighborhood like we're looking at right now in the Longcrest Lawndale area? So those are two areas that I am extremely passionate about, along with neighborhood economic development.
And you mentioned the elders of our community. What about some of the younger folks of our communities? Let's say the millennials, those in their 20s or 30s. Are there any specific initiatives that you have for those folks?
So when I look at those issues, the issue of retirement security and the issue of the reverse mortgages, we also talked earlier about, we talked about public safety, quality of public education. But when I think about those last two that we specifically talked about, those two issues have the millennial generation in mind in particular, because our existing senior population, who are the homeowners, particularly in more of our more working class and upwardly mobile neighborhoods, they have access to that sort of three-pronged retirement security package sort of that I talked about with Social Security, personal savings, along with a defined pension. The issue is that while our millennials are working hard, not staying maybe in a job for as long as some of the others, do they have portability for their retirement savings? Are they even thinking about saving right now as it relates to the future? I don't know about you, but I can remember when I started as an intern for Councilwoman Marion Tasco in City Council, and I can remember finishing undergrad. I became a certified secondary English teacher by profession. I was 21. I taught, but then I began to work for the city. But remember, contributing to a retirement account was mandatory. It wasn't optional. So because it was mandatory, I did it not thinking about it. And so we didn't have to worry about my choices as a 21-year-old.
So now, are you saying those options are there? It's not.
So what we're seeing in the private sector more so, and even some public sector workers, and I'm talking about in cities and states across the nation, we are now seeing more of the sort of risk of managing and making a decision about whether or not you will enter into some sort of retirement savings plan, whether it's 401k, IRAs, or anything like that. It's your choice. Well, when you were 21 years old or 22,
you didn't really think about that too much.
Did you think contributing?
No, not at all.
I'd rather have all of my money right now.
401k.
Right. So when we talk about retirement security, we talk about investigating the state of it. I would argue that Cherelle, you're interested in this not just for that senior population, but with the millennials in particular in mind, because these are the prospective future homeowners. These are the workers in our communities and the people who will help to keep our economy sort of viable and thriving.
Let's talk some specifics about public safety.
Sure.
Obviously, that's very important to anyone who lives in Philly, and I don't know if we want to go down the gun control route, but what are your thoughts around the public safety and initiatives that you want to bring to the table?
So from a state perspective and even a federal perspective, so as a state legislator, one of the things that I passionately advocated for was the mandatory reporting of lost and stolen weapons. Obviously, working in city council and having 10 years of experience working in Harrisburg, the governing bodies are in two different worlds. And I'll say that to be extremely gentle. But we worked very hard on the issue of the mandatory reporting of lost and stolen guns. And while we weren't successful in getting it enacted into law, you have to keep on plugging away at the issue. And it's not, I don't even view it as quote unquote gun control, because I've always talked about it as how do you sort of deal with controlling the flow of illegal handguns, right? And even when we tried to couch it that way.
Is it impossible?
Yeah.
Is it impossible to control the flow of illegal guns?
Oh, I don't think so. I mean, with straw purchasing, and if we had, strengthened, and we've done that, we strengthened the laws as it relates to straw purchasing, but if we could find a way to enact a mandatory reporting of lost and stolen weapons, law enforcement, I mean, Commissioner Ramsey, prior to his, leaving, he talked a great deal about it, and across the nation, law enforcement agencies have said, listen, when your car is stolen, what do?
Yeah.
You go, you report the car, stolen to your insurance company, right? Because it's in your interest to do so. For law-abiding citizens who own a firearm, the mandatory reporting of your weapon to your insurance company and/or law enforcement, you would think that is routine, but other issues, sort of come into play. But that is something that's important. Okay. In addition to that, I will argue that in neighborhoods on the ground, having a communicative relationship with your law enforcement, the walkability, the beat officers.
Brings in some of that community policing that Ramsey is really a supporter of.
Yes, like that was something that we heard a lot when we would have town hall meetings, and that's something that I'm a huge fan of. For 10 years, we established town hall meetings throughout my legislative district.
And do you plan to bring some of that here to the 9th district?
Listen, the 9th Councilwoman district has a plan coming.
Okay.
The staff has said to me, calm down, woman. You can't get it all done in 30 days.
It's going to take some time.
So that's what they said. So I've got to just sort of wait and be a little relaxed.
How and when will you introduce this plan? Will it be via the website, Facebook?
Well, so right now we're working on establishing district offices throughout the 9th Councilwoman district, and we haven't gotten the first one up yet. Okay. So as we work on trying to find locations where we can establish some local offices, because I'm a firm believer that the best way to serve people is to go to the neighborhoods where the people are.
Yes.
Expecting people to trek it all the way down to City Hall to meet with their council person, it just doesn't happen. People are working, they're trying to live, take care of their children. They don't have time to get to City Hall. So I want to do as I've been done as a state legislator, and that's be right in the heart of the community, on the commercial corridor,
come and knock on the door.
Knock on the door, catch the bus, drive, but they can get there and say, Cherelle, this is the service that I need for my office. So it's going to take us a bit, but we're working hard.
And you'll be there. You'll be there before you know it, actually. Let's take us inside the heart of Cherelle Parker. So obviously you've been in politics over 10 years. What is your motivating force when you wake up in the morning? Obviously you have a son to take care of, get him out the door, but you drive on down to City Hall and you're here to service the people day by day. What is your motivation? So
I'll be sort of very direct, and wow, that's a tough question that you just asked me. But
that's why I'm here. That's my job.
But it's a good one. I was raised by my grandparents. My mother was a single teenage mother, and I was raised by my grandparents. My mother passed very early. I was 11 when she passed, and 16 when my grandmother passed on. And I will tell you that even as a child, I learned very early that there was a difference between what I now call the haves and the have-nots. Oh, wow. But as a child, I knew the difference between the family on Leave It to Beaver, with Wally and the Beeve. I knew it was a difference in the way he lived, and the difference between Florida and James, and how Michael, JJ, and Thelma lived.
Big difference.
Right? And so when you ask me, Cherelle, what is it that moves you? What is it that drives you? It's using government as a tool to close the gap between the haves and the have-nots. A way to level the playing field. Not to give anything away, but give access to opportunity for those people who weren't born in the right zip code or born with the right last name. Just give them access to the opportunity so that they can succeed in any way that they determine. But if they have access to the opportunity, then I feel that I've done my job as an elected official. And why does that move me? Because again, when you're a product of very humble beginnings, those are the kinds of things that you think about. Some kids grow up and they're born into a family where it comes time to decide what elementary school, middle school, high school you're going to go to, or what college. They don't have to worry about it because mom or dad says, oh, you've made a decision? Okay, how much is the tuition?
Just write a
There
check.
you are.
Yeah,
They can just write a check.
Exactly.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. It's fine. If you were born into those circumstances, God bless you.
Sure.
But for those people who are not, I think they equally deserve to have access to the opportunity to get a quality public education, to have a family that they can raise, who can also benefit in this wonderful country called America that we live in.
And you're in the government fighting for those folks.
Yes,
Great job.
it's my
great job.
passion.
Very well put, very well put. Take us a little bit further into Cherelle Parker and give us an interesting fact, something that maybe some people don't know about you, but something you wouldn't mind obviously sharing with the world.
So, this is full disclosure. Now, everyone should not start running to get in line in front of my house.
Okay.
I will tell you this. I am an excellent cook.
Okay. Now, what type of food are we talking? Are we talking Italian food? Are we talking Southern food? Are we talking ham hocks? Can I get some grits? What can I get?
I was raised by my grandmother. I can cook.
Okay. No said. No said. Okay.
So I'll usually have an open house around Christmas time.
Sure.
Friends, family, members of my community, they come through all day long. Every time they come through, they say, is this catered? And I say, well, you're looking at her. It takes me about 2 weeks to do it because it's a lot of the prep work.
Oh, sure, a lot of the prep
work.
And the cleanup, you're not doing it by yourself.
Prep work, cleanup. Well, some friends, they'll come over and they'll help me. But quiche's good. Ribs are good. Turkey wings are great.
Okay.
Short ribs. Beef short ribs.
Yeah.
Pork ribs.
Okay.
Oh, my husband's going to hear me say pork ribs. Yes, pork ribs. But he doesn't need the pork ribs. I cook those for other people who like the pork ribs. So I love to cook.
Okay, good stuff. So you said open house. Now, the other folks can't come, but maybe I can come.
You can come. Yeah, because you can do a taste tester. You can say, listen, I had her food and it really wasn't as good as she
I would
thought.
never do that.
Or I had it and she was telling the truth. That lady can cook.
You heard it here in Philadelphia. Cherelle Parker doing some amazing things in the 9th District. Again, you don't have an open door, but it seems as though I have an open door. And I will tell the truth about her cooking. Definitely check her out. You know how to find her. Again, she's doing some amazing things in the 9th District, but also the entire Philadelphia city. Thanks a lot for joining us for this segment of Philly on the Rise, and we'll see you soon.
That real hip hop.
Y'all know how we do.
You're listening to Free Zone Matthias.